God bless and good morning. We on a raw at up. We're not on.
There we go. Ooh. God bless and good morning. We're on a roll at 4:57, almost 5 a.m. this morning. The Rodriguez household has been on fire since about 3:45. But I digress. Let us work. Warning. This transmission is not for drifters. This is a sealed system initiation. You might experience sudden clarity that your bliss was just borrowed peace, guilt for how often you've confused stillness with stagnation, and emotional whiplash from realizing you never designed your system, you only reacted to its gaps. If these if these symptoms rise, do not seek another podcast. Don't beg for more motivation. Go silent. Open your black book. Draft the system, because today you are not journaling your feelings. You're blueprinting for your future. That has been the theme today on a coaching conversation I just had. Sometimes you got to go silent. So here's the concept overview. We're talking about the war room. It's April, but we want to figure out our May strategy design. I didn't go through this full April challenge and speak to you every day to not help you get through May in a different way. So this isn't manifestation, this is logistics. Today you're going under the hood, not to dream, but to document. Here's what you'll learn and design. We talked about bliss before, but we'll specifically talk about how to turn bliss into blueprint. Peace isn't a pause, it's a system alignment signal. We'll talk about how to extract strategy from stillness. If silence doesn't translate into structure, it was just avoidance. That is so big. We don't quiet quit. Silence is strategic. How to schedule outcomes instead of chasing them. And we'll also talk about why motivation is bankrupt without mapping. By the end of this, bliss won't be a vibe, it'll be your operational baseline. Ooh. Let's go to the visual metaphor. This is called the blueprint under the pool table. Imagine this. Immerse yourself. Close your eyes if it makes you feel a little bit better. And imagine walking into a bodega style back room. Do you know what a bodega is? Little corner store in the hood. Low lights, the dice game mid roll, loud energy, fake bravado. But behind the pool table, there's a latch. And below it, a steel vault. Inside that vault, ooh, that's where the real bucks are. That's where the real bets are, where the numbers ain't for show, where no cap lives. That is your bliss. It is not on the surface, it is under the performance. And the only ones who find it are the ones who go downstairs. Peace is under the covers. Peace is the process. Pain is part of peace. Let me tell you like this is my personal perspective. Bliss was never peace to me. It was pause. It was that government sanctioned silence between sirens. You grow up in it. You start to think silence means you're safe. It doesn't. It just means the system got you still long enough to forget you were supposed to fight. You see where I'm from? Bliss comes in rations. A little food. I remember standing on that cheese line. A little check, a little joy, all handed down like it was favor, when really it was containment. Yeah, that's how they box you in. Section 8 spirituality, WIC approved worth, emotional EBT. We weren't taught how to build peace. We were taught how to wait in line for it. Taught that struggle is culture and endurance is identity. as long as we never ask where the scraps came from. So from young, I caught on. I watched my people break open bottles just to feel a moment of silence they weren't allowed to own. Watch the clock click toward the night like it was the finish line of their existence. And me, none the wiser. I repeated it, repackaged it, called it me time, called it bliss. But it wasn't peace, it was poverty with incense. Yeah, I gotta make it smell good. You see, real bliss ain't supposed to be handed out. It's not a system refill, it's a self sealed system design. It's coded into your calendar, trained through your triggers, and built from the bricks you use to carry on your back. So here's the gotcha. Most people don't want that kind of bliss. They don't want peace that requires presence, real presence. They want anesthesia. The emotional fentanyl of, I'm good. You ever ask that? Ask everybody today and take count. How you doing? See how many I'm goods you get. While their soul gets slow dripped into sleep. But you know me. I couldn't keep cashing the same check and calling it healing. So I flipped it. I stopped waiting for the world to bless me. I started becoming someone God could trust with bliss. You want to know how I did it? You already know. 3 a.m. That's right. I had a 4 a.m. coaching call this morning. I was ready when God called me. Script it, sweat it, pray it, design it, return it. Not because the world is quiet, but because I don't need the noise to shut up to remember who the I am. You understand? Bliss is not a break. Stop giving yourself these little adult timeouts. It's a blueprint. And I sure as hell don't need approval to build anything anymore. I'm the architect now. We're going to get into the black book system mechanics. It's 5:05 on I think it's a Thursday. If you don't build your own peace, peace is not going to come for you. Peace is not blocking out and restricting and limiting yourself to the struggles that come with the growth and the endurance required for the stamina of your life. I know we know this. I know deep down we sense it. We all need to just sort of get time, right? I'm gonna tell you what I told this person I spoke to this morning. Happened to be my wife. She's going through some things. Regardless of the situation, regardless of what's presented to you, you have a mode, you have a flow, you have self accountability, you have your own energy, your own vibe, your own frequency, you have standards. Never let anybody bring you down to the point where you regress in your standard. I have enough peace. You should have enough peace. We should have enough peace that regardless of what life is presenting us, I still keep my chin up. I still walk forward. I still produce to the high standard that I set for myself. And when we don't have that flow, when we allow our peace to be blocked, it restricts us into regression. We start to feel like, all right, this is not working out for me. I'm just going to sort of bow out, quiet quit a little bit, move into the background. I'm not saying strategically there aren't some things that you need to do to make your presence felt, but bringing down your presence in a way that is going to have people just not feel you is not conducive to growth. And the lifestyle that's promoted to us with how we find our bliss and our peace, to block out, to sip a substance, to inundate ourselves with emotional stimulants around immediacy of comfort is not peace. Peace doesn't block progress. Peace is not a debilitator for growth. Peace should not conflict with constant go forward action. That's not peace. That's stagnation. And if you want to find and quote peace and stagnation and stasis, well, then that's you that's just configured that. Those are your system mechanics. And let's talk about that in the Black Book. Today's Raw 4, Raw 5. Black Book, system mechanics behind bliss. Let's clarify again what bliss is not. Bliss is not vibes, quiet time, or your Sunday reset playlist. Bliss is your system telling you this is aligned, this is sustainable. Keep going. So bliss becomes blueprint when scheduled prayer equals strategic awareness. You're not just talking to God, you're syncing data with source. Bliss is blueprint when you create deliberate discipline. Deliberate discipline equates to emotional regulation. You don't react, you reroute. Yo, I had, after I got out of my prayer this morning, it's odd for me. I had about 11 missed calls and like 27 text messages. That's that alerted me because I don't get a lot of phone calls and I don't get a lot of texts. And I was getting texts from people to tell me that there's a specific someone reaching out to me. And that specific someone thought I had them blocked. So once I got into my texts, I had to first I was excited. It's nice to hear from this person. I sent a text. I said, "Yo, you're not blocked. I don't accept phone calls after a certain time." And I set my phone to do not disturb. Emotional regulation. Did I miss out a little bit? Possibly. Am I that concerned about it? No, I'm in peace. I have deliberate discipline. And frankly, I talked about this before, I think I did. If you are unable to break through my do not disturb, it's because you're not allowed to bring me an emergency. I don't care how that sounds. I don't care that I missed 27 text messages and 11 phone calls. I didn't, in my mind, I missed nothing because that time was blocked off. When it's dinner time, yo, dinner time till I put myself into sleep state. That's all family time. My wife, my daughter, my son. Nobody gets through. Nobody gets through. That's my peace. I'm deliberate and intentional. It's emotional regulation. So I don't need to react to anything or overreact. Find yourself, as one of the things I said to my wife when I talked to her just now, I said, listen, you got to find your do not disturb button. What's your do not disturb button? I send people to voicemail immediately. Why? I am at peace. I'm having conversations, deep conversations, or I'm just having silent time, embracing and enjoying the presence of the moment. So you don't get to break through. You don't get to fracture my peace. Now, let's talk about consistent creation. Consistent creation equates to manifestation without mysticism. You don't gotta sprinkle fairy dust and things like that. If you create daily, the outcome stops being hypothetical. Ooh, yo, if you're doing the same thing every day, same time, which you are anyway, but you're driven towards a creative mindset, not like, I'm painting the Sistine Chapel, but I'm painting my life, I'm scripting my life, I'm authoring my life, then the outcomes for your life stop being hypothetical. If you put in consistent work The way that you said you're going to put in consistent work at the times you said you're going to put in consistent work, there's nothing to hypothesize. It's predictable. Why? I'm in control of all of my controllables, not some of them, all of them. So if I create daily, I can predict what is going to happen. I know what's going to happen at 3 o'clock. I know what's going to happen at 3:30. I know what's going to happen at 4. I know what's going to happen all the way till I go to sleep at 9 o'clock. Sometimes it's disturbing from a peace perspective because it's a lot of pressure. You don't appreciate yet until you come to presence constantly the immense amount of pressure that is required for presence. It's so cliche and trendy. I'm where my feet always are. All right, try it. Try to always be where your feet are. Try to always be spirited in one direction only. I have an apex priority. I'm all about this life and this life only. Nothing gets in the way. Try it. And then be there always. Be there always. Become somebody who people rely on for their own peace. There's little micro things. One of the things I check usually in the morning, my wife, God bless her, I love her to death. I told you my best friend, right? I always make sure she usually texts me because she goes to bed. She shuts down the house. She gives me the peace to be able to go to sleep at 9 o'clock to wake up at 3 because she takes care. She sets the alarm. She makes sure all the doors are locked. You understand? You overlook those things. Those are corny, right? Those are not big deals. When I check my text, she asks, please make sure you, before you start your Raw 4, make sure I'm awake. Sometimes she sleeps through the alarm. I mean no disrespect by it, but she goes to sleep at 11 o'clock. It's hard to wake up at 4 o'clock. She needs a little bit of help. I'm there for her. I have to be present. I can't have nothing. That's peace to me. I love that responsibility. I got you. I'll make sure you're up. That's presence. I'm predictable. I can be relied upon. We're talking about now emotional memory. Emotional memory equates to pre installed belief. You've already felt the win, so resistance feels like a rerun. Winners aren't surprised by the win because they rehearsed it in stillness. If you're gonna use foresight and bleed into the future and consider what you want to win at and where you want to win at. The game is won, right? This is a sports analogy. You, all athletes practice. Why wouldn't you practice at life? Your 9 to 5 requires practice. You don't know what your schedule is for tomorrow. You don't know what kind of tickets you might have to close. You don't know what your operational everything has an operational workflow. The reality of life, we want to be so innovative, we want to be so creative, and we want to think about investing in all these big things. We want to constantly build, but you got to stuff, right? You build a house, fine. You put together a drawer. You got to fill the drawers up. What's a house with no furniture, with no dressings? You got to fill it. You can't always be building the house. You can't always be doing the things that look so pretty on the outside. You got to get inside. You got to get dirty. So when I look around and everything's furnished, is that the word? When everything is dressed up, I'm not surprised that my drawers are filled. I'm not surprised by what's filled inside my cup. And then I empty it and I fill it and I empty it and fill it. Why? I'm not surprised. And when I get the blessings, I'm not like, oh my God, how did this happen? It's not a surprise. I expected it. So in that way, I know that when I'm pushing towards the expectance of an outcome, there's resistance. So when they tell you stop being so outcome driven, you can't you want the win as the trophy because you don't realize the work for the trophy is the win. The trophy is just confirmation of what has already been done. When you win the game, it's because you already played it. When the clock hits 0, you can't do anything to win or change the outcome. It's already done. The win is already decided. So you rehearse in stillness. You create enough stillness so that you're predictable about what's predictable. That the end is the beginning because the beginning is the end. You should never be surprised. Yes, resistance. Yes, frustration. Yes, some of it drives you absolutely mad. But if you constantly pull at the slot machine and you pull at the slot machine and you pull at the slot machine in a way that I'm only going to go to the same slot machine every day, I'm going to keep depositing into that same slot machine. And I don't care how many other slots around me show winners. I'm not moving off that slot. I'm going to keep depositing. And I might deposit for, you figure, I pretty much sleep 6 hours a day. I got 18 hours. And I get up after my 18 hours. Somebody comes in behind me. They put a slot, they put a quarter in the slot, and they get all the winnings I got. That's cool. I'm not moving my machine. I'm going right back. I'm going right back. I'm going right back. Why? Eventually, I'll receive the winnings. Let's talk about the consequences. Are you running the system, or is the system running you? If you don't blueprint your bliss, the consequences are going to sting. You'll mistake busyness for strategy. How many times have we talked about that? Just because you're busy doesn't mean that you're working on something that's strategic. You'll chase highs but never design them. You'll keep praying for peace without building a place to house it. Ooh. You'll equate silence with failure, not feedback. You'll look back on quiet seasons and realize you built nothing. You'll keep waking up hoping peace arrives, never realizing it was waiting for your system to invite it. And worst of all, you'll spend your life praying for what you already patterned against and call it divine delay instead of design failure. There are consequences. If you lease your peace and you lease your bliss and you can't script out the type of effort required, you're just gonna you're gonna be susceptible to somebody else's image, somebody else's pressure. When you submit and you relinquish authority, you just subscribe to somebody else's. Have you not appreciated what that means? Environmental factors are irrelevant. And if you don't like your environmental factors, change them. You're not beholden to where you are right now, how you are doing exactly what you're doing. You're not. You're not. Yes, there's some limitations, there's frictions, there's resistance. We can't just all get up and quit tomorrow and fall into bliss. It doesn't work like that. But so long as you continue to inundate yourself in the ways you're inundating yourself today, you are already subscribed. It's just to somebody else's lifestyle, somebody else's pressure, somebody else's peace. So how do we change that? Our how-to for our bliss design. Divine. Define your bliss markers. List the top 3 moments this past month where or when you felt most you. Like, when did you feel most you? Where were you? What were you doing? What system move created that moment? Now make that a baseline, not a fluke. Don't be a broke clock twice a day. No, make it your baseline. The second thing you want to do is turn emotion into execution. Whatever moment felt like peace for this past month that you've been with me, reverse engineer it. What part was prayer? What part was practice? What part was protection? And now, scale it, repeat it, ritualize it. If you're going to ritualize something, ritualize your peace. And then draft your May performance stack. Prepare for May from now. Map the next 30 days like a war general. Identify apex moves in 4 lanes. What are your apex moves? What is your apex move for yourself, for your spirit, for your system, for your service? If the move doesn't serve the next version of you, eliminate it. I believe deeply. I dominion divide. The further divided you are from dominion over your life, the further frustrated you're going to feel with your life, especially emotionally. And the easiest way to be fractured between dominion is to not have an apex priority and vision. Let me explain briefly before we go into our daily phone tap. I was journaling this yesterday. This Kabbalist book is really, really blowing my mind. It's so beautiful. The really short version to a long story. If you think of spirit like an angel is spirited only. It doesn't have any physical possibilities. The significance there is the spirit, the angel, can only be focused in one direction. It can only take on one thing. If it requires any more of a lane or an initiative, it requires an additional angel, an additional spirit. So think of you having a spirit of an angel inside of you. That spirit can only be focused in one direction. The reality is you're a physical being in this physical world. So what you have access to are the polarities of life. If you want to just label it fear derived consciousness and love derived consciousness. So you can always contextualize in both directions, right? I can go left, I can go right, I can go up, I can go down, I can win, I can lose, I can love, I can hate. The spirit can only, though, be focused in one direction. The mind, your physical essence, your consciousness, in the same way, can only always be focused in one direction at a time, even though you can see many different directions. We call it multitasking. That shit is a big myth. Your mind is just hopping, right? You can move it. I can move it left. I can move it right. I can move it up. I can move it down. I can say love. I can say hate. All at the same time. All at the same time. Now, the more you pivot, the less spirited you get. Why? Imagine taking your spirit that can really only be spirited in one direction and constantly playing ping pong with it. I love, I hate, I win, I lose, I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm up, I'm down. Why? Because you don't know where you're going. Your system's one way, your spirit's the other, your mind's the next. That is why I talk about being spirited and rooted in one direction. Everything follows suit. I'm not telling you that you can't contextualize and compare, contrast, and know that there's many different lanes. But at some point, you gotta pick the lane. And when you pick the lane, you gotta go down the lane. And when you pick the lane and go down the lane and you're spirited in one direction, this is the version of me I'm going to be. This is my peace. Nobody gets access to me at this time. I only focus on this. If it's not a priority, I kill it. When you do that, you maintain spirit and you start to build stamina for spirit in one direction so long that eventually you stop having to worry about what's a block. It just gets blocked. Why? It's not allowed. Why? I'm not spirited in that direction. I'm not spirited for your complaints. I'm not spirited for your stress. I'm not spirited for your poverty-driven, broke mindset. If it doesn't serve me, it goes. I'm not judging you. You just don't align with me. You got to go. And that includes emotions. That includes thoughts. That includes visions. Why focus on a vision that doesn't serve you? Why are you worried about what might happen that isn't conducive to a positive outcome? It's not to suggest it's not difficult and there's not friction and restraint. What I'm suggesting is you're at work, you're frustrated with your job, but you're there. You're there. Do you have to stay focused on the negative? You don't. You can acknowledge it. You can accept it. That's the thing. There's acceptance there. If no, I don't accept it. I don't tolerate it. Why are you going back to the job then? If you're not going to quit, accept that you're not going to quit, accept what comes with it, then accept the fact that if I want to be better somewhere else, I should just behave this way and not bring myself down to the environment. I pick myself up, keep myself up until I'm ready to shift my environment. The only way I can understand to accomplish that is that I always stay principally aligned. God, faith, honor, loyalty. I don't like it. I'm getting friction. It doesn't matter. God, faith, honor, loyalty. I'm virtuous towards this lane. I put in the effort. That's maintaining a level. You're disciplined either way. It's just that I'm not gonna allow you to fracture my peace. There's peace and pain. There's pain and peace. I can simultaneously be going up and down. All right. It's time for our daily phone tap in our ARR format. Audit, remix, re-record. Start with an audit. Audit one area where you've been calling bliss what was really just disengagement. For example, you say watching Netflix till 1 a.m. helps you decompress. Maybe a little glass of wine or some bourbon, some ice cream. But you wake up groggy, off rhythm, and out of sync. That wasn't bliss, that was buffering. Then you want to remix. Remix your definition of peace. For example, you used to think peace meant no problems. Now, peace means no leaks. Same storm, but now you've got an umbrella and a plan and a firewall. Peace is performance ready. I got my armor up. I know who I am. I know who I'm being. I block. I pivot. I disengage. And you want to re record. Re record the next 24 hours as if your system was already sealed. For example, today, block off an hour. Turn off your phone, but yet you want to set a 20-minute timer. Maybe set it to do not disturb, right? Set time for prayer. In that 20 minutes, you can even do 5 minutes of prayer, 5 minutes for creation, 10 minutes of journaling, strategic execution for the next month of May. Don't rush it. Don't judge it. Just record it. Because once you feel bliss on command, you'll never chase peace again. You don't scale after peace. You scale because you already had it. So, welcome to May on April 24th. Welcome to the war room. Now, go run the system or stay trapped in theirs because you either run the system or the system runs you. Change your mind, change your life. I am who I say I am. Do you and stay rich.